Redditors with thin walls, what have you heard in your apartment? My upstairs neighbors taking turns zapping each other with a stun gun, hitting the floor, groaning in pain, and then laughing like Beavis and Butthead. This is a special breed of dumb. I like to think I'm smart, but I totally do that. It's all about training to fight electric Pokemon. You're only with me for the crack, my next door neighbors. Yes I am. Calm down Dr. Poo Poo Head, you are acting very unprofessional. Someone sneezed, we said bless you, they laughed. That's very thin, a sheet of paper. What can only be described as my flatmate having phone sex while using Christian Bale's Batman voice. I'm Fatman. It's not the awards I received, but who I fat to that defines me. I've heard my neighbor giving his granddaughter a xylophone. For birthday I guess. She could play it well, and kept playing for a while. Immediately after she left I could hear him trying to play something his granddaughter played. He practiced for a solid hour, until he managed to play this song correctly, and stopped with a joyful yes. It was one of the purest things I've ever experienced. What a wholesome break from bad music and people banging. I've been hearing Don't Stop Believing by Journey every morning at least twice for about a month now. You shouldn't stop believing. William, we do not hit. His mom was visiting. He was 30. Poor mom. I feel bad for laughing at this. Upstairs neighbors were a single mom and teenage daughter. They were very loud. The mom's room was above my room. One day I had off and was woken up by sex upstairs. It was pretty common in the previous couple weeks. This time, though, someone came in and started screaming, "You're having sex in my bed?" Turns out the daughter had been skipping school and coming back to the apartment with her boyfriend. They were the ones having sex in the mom's bed. The fight that ensued should earned both women awards. I have never understood having sex in your parents' bed. Like, why don't you have your own bed? Edit. RIP my inbox. Yeah, weirdos. More real estate. Kid's bed is usually a twin. The whole house is free real estate. Just do it on the floor like normal kids. Rug burn. I moved from far away, so I have a different state license plate than everyone else at the apartment complex. A couple of days ago I had my upstairs neighbor drunkenly ranting to his wife about what he thinks I'm up to. He's convinced that I'm on the run from something. I'm just in grad school, mayo. Okay, but take a second to realize the opportunity you have here. I'd personally play this one out. Give vague answers when asked about your life. When walking to your car, look over both shoulders at least once a week. Fake a phone call while they're home with a vague but suspicious conversation. If you see them in the hallway, ask them if they've seen someone resembling a sketchy character you've made up. You have a chance to be truly mysterious. They'll tell stories of you for years to friends about the neighbor who may have been on the run. Eater. Thanks for my first silver stranger. Very cool. Good fake phone call sentences. It's in the middle of the fucking Nevada desert. Who the hell is gonna dig it up? For the last time. He's never going to know it was US. I hope you remembered to use a burner phone when you contacted them. Do like Daphne and Martin in the elevator. They never check the fake leg at customs. I live next to a guy who took care of his disabled girlfriend. She stayed home with a nurse while he worked to support them and pay for her healthcare. Everyone really admired him for it. He used to get drunk and tell her that if she doesn't start putting out he's gonna throw her ass out. How the hell did that get so grim so fast? I know, right? Talk about mood whiplash. An argument about money while I was doing the dishes. It ended with a slammed door and one of them on a piano, hitting the keys like a maniac. Some people read, some people go get something to eat, some people exercise. This motherfucker relieves stress by going crazy on a piano. Lol. Angrily plays Mozart. Lol, I can just imagine someone with a very distressed look on their face professionally playing Mozart, and it's hilarious. Jenna, I love you. Jenna, no. Jenna. Damn it, put the knife down. At this point, both the apartments adjoining to Jenna's called the police. Jenna's husband decided to spend the night elsewhere. Can you elaborate on the story? I'm curious. Jenna's husband loved her. Jenna then picked up a knife. The neighbors called the police, so Jenna's husband then spent the night somewhere else. Somewhere else. In heaven. I lived next to a couple some years ago, and they came home after a night out and started fighting about who was better at darts. I thought they were joking, but it got pretty heated. Doors were slammed. I still don't know who thought it was a good idea to combine alcohol and darts. I've heard and felt the neighbors upstairs having sex, and apparently they like to rearrange the furniture at least twice a week. My upstairs neighbors used to do the furniture moving thing. We both had studio apartments, and it was a huge mystery to me how they could move what sounded like a warehouse full of furniture for an hour in such a tiny place. More what my neighbor heard. I'm a deep sleeper, and was an even deeper sleeper as a teenager. My phone alarm was going off for 30 minutes and my neighbors could hear it through the walls. Assumed it was a burglar alarm, and called the police. Waking up to the police banging on my door was confusing. The alarm worked, just in a roundabout way. Task failed successfully. I can hear when my neighbors vacuum. Our building tends to vacuum together as a result. I hear my upstairs neighbor and go, oh hey, I should vacuum, haven't done that in a while, and it's already noisy. Then my downstairs neighbor and my left hand neighbor start vacuuming. It's kinda hilarious. My right hand neighbor doesn't vacuum with us, but does sing opera while doing dishes. Do you ever run into your neighbors in the hall and be like, good vacuuming yesterday, huh? A good suckin' with the boys, huh? Our neighbors were once talking loud, and I was nosy, so I put my ear up to the wall, and realized she was reading him Harry Potter pretty enthusiastically, and it made my heart melt. Did you ask for them to keep reading when they stopped? Couple upstairs would argue frequently. One particular evening, they had an epic battle. It was hours long. About 2 hours into the argument, 11 PM on a weeknight, we heard the woman shout first of all. That was the moment we knew sleeping wouldn't be restful that night. That was the moment we knew sleeping wouldn't be restful that night. Reason number 19, I think you're the worst is how you wash the fucking dinner plates. You're the type of person who doesn't wash the bottom of a dinner plate. I read it a long time ago, but it sticks in my mind. It's such a specific insult, but it says so much about a person. Not in my house, but I travel a lot for work, and stay in a lot of hotels. So far my favorite was hearing someone banging around in the shower for a while and this exchange. Loudly, hey, wash my balls. Louder, wash your own goddamn balls. Yelling, fuck you, your pussy stinks. They got quiet after that. Probably because they heard me howling with laughter and realized people could hear them. My male neighbor from India belting out hello Bidel at the top of his lungs. It was magical. I love when I hear people sing. I actually manage an apartment complex where my office is surrounded by a 1-bedroom unit. The building is old and the walls are thin. The tenant that used to live in the unit was a quiet man, but would frequently sing beautiful opera music. His voice was amazing, and I loved it every time I heard him sing. Then one time I saw him in the halls, and made the mistake of asking if he was the one who sang these beautiful opera songs. His face turned red, but he confirmed that it was him. I told him that I always enjoyed it when I heard him sing, and that it would always brighten my day. Never should have said anything, because I never heard him sing again. I had a neighbor who was a professional opera singer. While chatting one day I made a comment about her singing. She got embarrassed and said she would start practicing in her bedroom or another location so as to not bother me. I had to all but beg her not to do such a thing as I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah girl, you know you want this dick. My college roommate. 3 kids later it's apparent she did, in fact, want it. After the 3rd kid I'm surprised you didn't want some too. Clearly the dick was fire. In our old apartment our upstairs neighbor had extremely loud, theatrically enthusiastic sex in the middle of the day. The puzzle was that he would stop in the middle, and we'd hear him walk to where the bathroom is, stay there for a minute or two, and then walk back, and resume in the bedroom. It was the same pattern every time. We could never figure out what that was all about. Any ideas welcomed. My man has going for 2 different rounds. Round 1. Do it. Finish. Enthusiastically. Apparently. Small break to clean up. Round 2. Honey your turn. You put it in my ass this time. Years ago I had an upstairs neighbor. At 2 AM. Every night. I would hear something sprint across the entire apartment. I realized 3 things. It was very fast. It took small strides. And it never deviated from its path. One day, I saw my neighbor outside and I said, I don't know how you have energy at 2 AM. He responded with, dude, I've been working the midnight to 8 AM shift for 15 years. Doesn't bother me at all. That night, I watched him leave his house, drive off, and waited 2 hours. At exactly 2 AM, I heard what sounded like 2 feet hit the floor in his bedroom, and the marathon started. A few weeks later, I see him outside. I tell him what I hear at night and he says, "That's strange. No one has my keys. It's just me and my rabbit up there." Heard the couple next door arguing. The wife was furious because she realized he had been cheating on her after she found out she had chlamydia. He tried to convince her that she must have been the unfaithful one. She still lives there. He doesn't. I once heard an argument that went a little like this. "Stop treating me like I'm stupid. You asked if seahorses were mammals. Jessica, they give live birth. So, are seahorses mammals?" 1. Lots of fucking. 2. My presumably constipated neighbor trying to poop. Aka 5 minutes of grunting and heavy breathing. 3. Someone snoring like what I can only describe as a diesel truck revving its engine. 4. A little girl practicing playing what I think was a violin every night for a while. 5. Someone blasting Middle Eastern music. I Shazamed it, and the song is called Mundian Tabachke. 6. What sounded like a woman forcing herself to puke, with lots of crying. IDK if she had food poisoning, or was bulimic, or what. That song is Indian, and very old/annoying. Very abrasive tune. My sympathies. When I was an older teenager I had my own tiny apartment in the hood and a raging asshole gang member for a boyfriend. We would get in raucous fights and my downstairs neighbor would call the police. One time, I was crying quietly after a particularly bad fight that had gotten physical, and I heard my neighbor arguing with her husband. No, I'm not going to mind my own business and ignore it. I don't care that he always comes back the next day and she forgives him. One day he's going to really hurt her or kill her, and I'm not going to live with knowing that I sat there and did nothing when I knew a girl was being abused. I was naive and in love. I thought and ignorant and young, and I had never considered it abuse. That felt so melodramatic, but I realized that my neighbor was right. Finally left him for good after that fight. So, good looking out random lady in East LA in 1999. I'm sorry for being the worst neighbor imaginable. This is an Igba we all need. I once heard a former roommate laughing with his then girlfriend about how they're fucking me over on money. Turned out they were taking my utility portion and buying various games and alcohol. Instead of confronting them, I confirmed what they said with the utilities company. They hadn't paid the bill as 2 months, and I moved all my stuff out that day while they were at work. For good measure, I took myself off the lease and told them about the GF that had been there 6 months. Lost the battle, but you won the war. Fucking losers. My university accommodation had paper-thin walls. You could hear people having sex 5 doors down, and I could hear my friends' music from even further away. Yeah, my college dorms were the same. My roommate asked from her room how to spell something, and our neighbor called to tell her how to spell it. It was hilarious to us.